Nissan had a lot of quality sports cars in the 90s and early 2000s. You know, your 300ZX, your 350Z, Skyline GTRs of the world, even your Nissan Silvias. But did you know Nissan even gave their little old buddy, the Sentra, the ultimate JDM treatment? Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to cover the best Nissan Sentra ever made. Let's talk about the first Nissan Sentra SER Spec V. Before getting into the logistics of the Spec V, I will mention that there is a Nissan Sentra SER non-Spec V variant that I will cover briefly before we get into the big boy. So on the normal SER, you actually had the option of getting an automatic, which was a 4-speed, or you could get the better choice, the 5-speed manual. But in 2003, Nissan discontinued the 5-speed manual, leaving just the automatic SER for the rest of its lifespan. In the engine department, we are met with a 2.5-liter QR25DE. No, these are not SR motors like the old 200SX was. The QR25 put out 165 horsepower and 175 foot-pounds of torque, which for an NA application in its time is super solid for sure. The SER featured a more aggressive front bumper, side skirts, and rear bumper compared to the base Sentra. The SER also featured way better looking black housing headlights. You know, almost every car, in my opinion, looks way better with black housing headlights. Now let's get into the big bad boy, the Spec V. This Spec V designation holds a lot of power as the iconic GTRs use a similar name, this being the V-Spec. The engine stayed the same from the SER, but power was raised to 175 horsepower and 180 foot-pounds of torque from that same QR25DE. This is a decent upgrade, but there is more to like about the Spec V than you may think. Unlike the SER, which could have been automatic, Nissan slapped the best transmission it could have in the Spec V, and this was a 6-speed manual. This was the only option if you wanted this top trim Sentra, and of course they stuffed a helical limited slip differential in there, far superior to the 5-speed in the SER. I said this in my Mazda Speed Protege video, but brands just really knew what they were doing in the early 2000s with their top of the line sports oriented compact cars. The Spec V handled better than any Sentra due to its more aggressively tuned suspension, including firmer springs, front polyurethane bushings, changes to the shock dampening, a front strut tower brace, and front stabilizer bars. These are all standard on your Spec V. 4-wheel ABS was actually not standard, which I find a little interesting for 2002, but you could get it optioned in, and from 04 to 06 you could get 4-piston Brembo brake calipers. I wonder how many people actually went for these Brembo brake calipers. If your Sentra has those, I am quite jealous. To touch on some interior bits, you were treated to a leather wrapped steering wheel, and in 2002 you got some cool Skyline inspired red bucket seats. You could option a 300-watt 9-speaker system with a 8-inch sub in your trunk, accompanied by a 6-disc CD changer, and also you could option in a sunroof. If you look at a later model Spec V like a 2005 or 2006, you may notice the front bumper might look a little different than the initial cars released. This is because in 2002 and 2003 exclusively, you got a front fascia inspired by the Skyline GTR. I personally think these earlier models look quite a bit better, but the 04 to 06 models look just fine. Unfortunately, this generation of Sentra quite often sees a lot of rust, but besides that, I still see them kicking around quite often, and the SER Spec V should not be a forgotten car. Nissan was supporting their front wheel drive side pretty well in the early 2000s, as the Maxima had an option to get a 6-speed, the Ultima had its very own amazing SER trim, and of course, this Sentra SER Spec V. Nissan did bring back the SER Spec V in the next generation of Sentra, but it doesn't quite itch the same niche as this car does, as it looks a lot more generic and not enough JDM to me. The SER Spec V is surely one of those legendary early 2000s front-wheel drive sports cars that people rave about, and most people that have owned one will tell you that they love them, and I am sure there are quite a few people out there taking care of their amazing Sentras, and they probably have been for many years. Let me know your thoughts on the first gen SER Spec V down below. That is quite the mouthful, I'm not gonna lie. I would love to hear your stories down below. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I wish Nissan to bring out a car like this today. I'll see y'all in the next one. Thank you for watching, and peace.
You wanna